Welcome to the No More Meds podcast with Dr. Corinne Weaver. Are you stressed out because you keep getting sick and don't know what steps to take? Are you sick of not getting answers from your doctor and always needing to take drugs? How would your life be different if you were healthy? Be inspired and stay tuned for some practical solutions for healthy living.
Hello and welcome to the No More Meds podcast. I am so excited to be in front of today Denise Lott. What a blessing she has been for myself. Coming, she was referred from a patient, and all my patients actually become family members. I get involved in their life and they get involved in my life. And I'm just really excited to hear her story today of how she's had chiropractic most of her life. She is a good family wife. She's been married for 21? You said 21 years? Yes. Married for 21 years. And right now she has 3 teenage boys. I can imagine what that's like. You have some animals too. I know you got chickens. You got, how many dogs? Is it just one dog?
Two dogs.
Yeah, 2 dogs.
Don't ask how many chickens. We have too many now.
Too many chickens. She has a little farm over there and raising 3 beautiful children. So I'm really excited to share her story with you today. And you guys are going to get a lot out of this podcast. And I'm just real excited to have her here. So Denise, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in natural healing.
Well, like you said, I've been in chiropractic care my whole life. I can remember my mom when I was really, really little taking me to the chiropractor. So that's kind of just been part of my life forever. But when I came to your office, really started pursuing a little bit more of the, paying more attention to what I'm eating, kind of starting to understand the connections between the gut and the brain and all of it. And, it just, I have some chronic issues but I'd heard about oils, but when I got into your office, it kind of, all of the pieces started coming together. So, you've had a big part in helping me really just take that next step and continue on that journey. And
that's what I love is like you were saying how your mom brought you to chiropractic. A lot of people don't even realize that kids need chiropractic. Growing up as a sick kid, my story of just being sick all the time. And my parents didn't know, that a chiropractic could help, or chiropractor could help. And so your mom was already, the foundation, she was already looking and searching. And I'm not sure how she even got involved with that. And you may not even know her story. Maybe I need to get her on the podcast. But yeah, hearing her story and getting you involved and how your boys are going to be different now because they have been raised in chiropractic and how that's going to change generations to come. And that's what I love and love seeing that change within the family. And it's a family thing. It's not just, just helping mom with headaches or helping dad with his back pain. It's like, well, let's get the kids involved. Let's get them healthier so we can, continue on the No More Meds journey.
Right. Shane is actually, he's my oldest, and he's the one who really is where that kind of that gut connection was made for me. We were fighting, every year he would get strep, same time of year. We would go to the doctor, we would get antibiotics, and for about 3 years consecutive, it just is same time, it was same week because he was missing the same things at school. And we got into your office like kind of in that 3rd year, and it was the worst it had been. And you helped us, through a natural regimen and supplements, get him through without antibiotics. And that first year was rough. The second year, he still got the strep, but it was not as bad. And I remember you telling him, we're going to boost your immune system and you're going to have a strong, healthy immune system by the time we're done with you. And do you know that this year he did not have strep?
Yay! So, mission accomplished.
Yes. And he's a senior and he's graduating.
Yes.
So I'm excited to send him off to college. He has that strong immune system built up, and we have not had, I don't think he's had antibiotics for, 2, probably 3 years.
Oh, praise God.
It's been really neat to see how that, what you said worked. So
Right. And a lot of people are scared. That's the main thing is, the coronavirus and all this. And it's just all this fear because we don't know what to do. And so when you have strep, you automatically think, oh my goodness, we're not going to be able to, the body's not going to be able to fight this without an antibiotic. And that's what we're trained is like, we have to have an antibiotic to kill it off. Well, what about building up the immune system so it can fight it off? And so that's a whole nother mindset to get behind that we're not used to.
True. But the biggest connection for me with that was that your gut plays such a large part in the immune system and affecting everything and kind of getting it's just a whole body. It's not just one piece, and so, that's just been an exciting aspect of it for me. I did this for me. I mean, I continue chiropractic for me and obviously for the boys, but that is a big why right there is seeing him get that immune system built up and it just feels good to be able to attack it and conquer it ourselves versus having to go rely on a system that is really just kind of winding us down, that we become more and more reliant on, because I saw him decline year after year after year, where now it's the other way and we kind of feel like we've gone up the mountain. And so it's a good
that's so exciting to hear. And that's, doing these podcasts with the patients, it's bringing me joy. And it also helps me keep doing what I'm doing, to change the kids' lives and change the families' lives. And I remember, and I know there's always two sides to the story. I don't know what your side is. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say because I haven't heard it. But, the essential oils or essential oils, people make fun of me because I'm from the South and how that comes out. But the essential oils have been a big part of my life. And, not being able to breathe and the things that I've been learning from my uncle. And I'll share in just a minute. Hang on, guys, because I got a good story to share with my Uncle John. And so I was using the oils to help me with the breathing, and peppermint was my first one. And so I was in the back I was seeing kids that were having headaches, seeing kids that were having, asthma attacks. And I was in the back literally making my own blends, my own chemistry lab. And I'm making my own blends and giving them to my patients. And one day you came across me in my chemistry lab in the back and you're like, what if we actually started a formulation and what you've been doing over the years and creating, a brand to get this more awareness and out there for people. Because I know there's, Young Living and doTERRA, and they have their own blends. And I've used their blends for years, but I noticed as being a doctor and working with clients and patients throughout the years, certain things worked and certain things didn't work. And that's when I decided to kind of create my own and so that's when I was in the back making that. And so I want to hear your story on how did you get this enlightening to help me out to get this, more aware and get the message out there of how they can use my blends and help them?
Yeah. One of the things that you promote, obviously, in your office is the oils. And I had heard about oils. I wanted to take the leap, but I don't know enough. I felt like I didn't know enough. So I finally got up the courage and started ordering some oils. And then it was just trial and error. And I felt like I was getting my own chemistry lab, and it was so much trial and error, and there was such a big expense with that. And so then I had all these oils. I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know which combinations were, gonna work or how much of what to put together. And so you were, kind of having some classes for your patients, and it just, kind of one day I was like, I wish I could go somewhere and just, if I only need 3 drops of an oil, instead of having to buy, a 15 milliliter bottle to try it and find out if it's going to work for me or not, why can't I just go somewhere and get, just a few drops?
A blend. Right. A few drops. Yeah.
Well, yeah, a few drops, put my blend together. And then as we kind of talked about it, we're like, wait, you already have the blends? You already know what what to do, what to put together. And it just kind of came together from that I was struck with the fact that, well, what if not everyone, to get into oils, it should be easier to use. You should be able to understand and know, and you shouldn't have to everybody should not have to, collect this chemistry lab in order to be able to use the essential oils.
And spend thousands of dollars because those, frankincense alone and all these oils are so expensive.
Yes, they are. And then in the different proportions. And I think one of the things that's different as we've worked through some of these, putting this line together, the blends, there's certain oils I don't care for or certain ones that don't work as well for me. But I think some of the ready-made blends from the bigger companies, some of them do work for me, but some of them don't. And I think it has to do with that ratio, or maybe there's just a wider range, more types of oils that are together. Not really sure because I don't know their formulas, but what I know is what we've put together are working. And that's an exciting thing, but it really comes down to cost. How the idea all kind of came around was, let's make it easy to use, which it is because it's already put together. But it's cost effective. So just kind of combining both of our chemistry labs and your knowledge, and it just kind of all worked together and was able to move forward.
Yeah, and I remember you bringing the first one, and I was just so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, because you don't know who to go to, and you don't know who can help you in these things. And, but you were just such a inspiration to really get this move, because there's no way I could have done what you've done in the last few years, helping me create these basically little bottles. And so last night, my grandfather, I was able to go visit him, and he's been suffering with some things. And I know he's 96, and we don't know how many days that he has. All of us don't know how many days we have. And so I left the office and I was like, I need to bring him peace. That's the one that came to my mind. I'm like, which one do I need to bring him? I need to bring him peace. Well, peace has frankincense, cobaiba, and chamomile in it. And those three together is just amazing smell. I mean, I smell it. It just brings so much, not just peace in my life, but just relaxation, calming. The frankincense, brings more oxygen to your brain. And so he's having trouble breathing. So he wanted me to come and read my book, Learning How to Breathe. And he wanted to have a few more breaths that he could have to spend with his family. And my dad and my uncle came in town. And so last night we're all together, and I'm putting peace on him. And then, of course, my Uncle John, who has done herbs for a long, long time, decades. He knows his herbs. And I didn't really confide in him on these products, but I've listened to him speak for years since I was a little girl. And so he's like, how did you know to put these three together? This is the most powerful thing that you could have ever done. And he's like, where can I get this? And I'm like, actually, it's mine. And he's like, what? And so it was just real. And he's like rubbing it all on him. And he's like, guys, this is what you need. He's telling the family, he's like, this is what we need. We need to put this on there when we go out, not wear the mask. Let's put these essential oils. That's what he said. Let's put these essential oils on us and not wear all these masks. This is what's going to protect us and our brain and our immune system, our health. These plants, God created these plants for us. How amazing is that? And we can use these plants to bring, peace into our life, what God's created for us. So I just wanted to share that story. I know it's very, very powerful. And that's something you did, Denise. You were able to help me. I wouldn't be able to do that, last night if I didn't have that all created. And I want to thank you with all my heart, so we can get, these oils out there, because so many people can be touched in a very, very mighty and powerful way. Because not only do we, put the oils together, but I pray over these oils. And there's a lot of, false things that are going on right now, with the coronavirus. People don't know what to believe. There's a lot of truth, there's a lot of non-truth, and they're confused. And so, years of experience. I mean, I've been working with essential oils for over 15 years. And so I just want to bring people truth about what they can do and how they can bring, healing to their bodies. And so this is what it's all about. And that's what the No More Meds podcast is for, so people can come to listen, to hear the truth of what's really out there and what's really going on. Anything else you'd like to share about the essential oils for your family and where they can actually find them and maybe even purchase them and try them out for themselves?
Right. So as far as the family goes, the boys will very often ask me, hey, Mom, I've got my stomach's not feeling good. Do you have an oil for that? And my standard answer, we all hear, like, yeah, there's an oil for that.
Of course.
Of course we have an oil for that. But there's also been, there was a time where we didn't have something in the line specifically for headaches. And, I struggle from time to time with, be it migraines or tension headaches. Sometimes it's sinus headaches. And one of the difficulties when we started talking about a headache blend was there's so many different kinds of headaches. How do you know what to target? And so we spent a bit of time kind of testing and what we found, we actually have our Release This blend, which we put together, started as a headache blend, but ended up also being really good for pain in general. But the This stands kind of, we put it out for tension, hormones, inflammation, and sinus. And if we can release, tensions that come from those things, it's been a really powerful blend as well for helping with pain and headaches. So for me, that one has been really impactful. That's our newest one in the line. And where can we get them? We just are launching the new website. So it's number9essentials.com. And you can go on there. You can find all of the oils. You can find the rollers. We have diffuser blends. We also have some bundles. So you can go on there, check them all out, and take a look and get them sent right to your door.
Yeah. And, the Release This is something we've been talking about for a long time. And I remember, you were like, we need a really good remedy for headaches. And like you said, when you asked me that, I was like, you have no idea, like what's already going through my head. There's so many causes of headaches. And so that blend was made and has really been enlightened, really has helped quite a few people with different types of headaches, which is kind of unusual. I want to really thank you for coming on today. And I think didn't you say you're going to offer something if they actually got the oils? Was there a discount if they listen to the podcast or anything like that?
You can we have a code for the listeners, Learning to Heal 10.
Okay.
So Learning to Heal 10. And if you enter that code at the website, you'll get an extra 10% discount.
So now's the time to try them.
Now's the time, for sure.
Now's the time to try them. When people are locked in their house, they need a little bit of encouragement. And this is a great gift. I mean, think about this. Even if you're like, I don't really need this right now, but I can, I'm hearing one of my friends just suffering with, breathing issues because of asthma or having issues with their stomach or having issues. I mean, there's tons of blends now that we have, so you can kind of search and maybe you're having a friend that's suffering with headaches or any of those things. So, or just want some peace,
We actually have 16 blends.
Oh no, 16. Oh, last night I thought it was 13. Yeah, so
16. And I think when we first started the line, about 2.5 years ago, I think we started with 5 or 6.
Yes.
So we've, been able to broaden the line, and there's a variety of different things. So there's probably something in there for everyone. There's allergy. Just Breathe Defense is a great one for immune boosting. So lots of things to go check out.
Yeah, especially the Just Breathe. That was my number one. It's still my number one seller in our office, because you asked me yesterday, what's the number one? I'm like, Just Breathe. Well, that's probably because that's the first formulation that I made, and it's very, very helpful just to open up your sinuses, get things cleared out. Your brain kind of opens up when you take it. So another thing too, I wanted to mention is I love the piece, and something that, I think of conditions, I'm like, okay, what did this condition help? And so that one was really made for anxiety. So there's so many people right now that are suffering with anxiety or depression. And so I named it anxiety because I was like, it's anxiety, and then later you came about and was like, well, maybe people don't want to hear the word anxiety. So that's why we switched the name to Peace. And I love that name, Peace. But for people, what is that for? You can kind of think, if you are having anxiety or feel overwhelmed for the day, that's the one that you would want to go to, is that Peace. And such a great one to give out. All of my patients get happy. And that was more for depression. And so we designed that one called Happy, and so many kids love that one. And so when you become a patient of mine, you actually get a Happy bottle sent to your house, which is a huge blessing. And this guy yesterday came into the office. He's like, I got this Happy essential, but I don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, did you read? Because that was one of the things that you said is, how do we apply this? And I know you didn't mention it, but it's on the bottle. And he was like, oh, it's on the bottle, and I'm like, that's how you apply it. And so that was one of the questions that you had, is like, yeah, okay, so I make the blend, but where do I put it and how to apply it? And so those answers are actually on the bottle. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, they are on the bottle. They're also on the website. So if you're interested, you don't have to buy the bottle to see what's on it. We actually have that information on the website. The one that, we have one that you suggested, the use is to put it on your big toe. And I'm always like, why the big toe?
Because of that. Yeah. So the big toe goes back to the brain. The main one I probably say too is behind the ears. Us being upper cervical doctors, we focus on that atlas. We know where that vasomotor center is. We know where that whole connection is on how the basically all the blood vessels opening up. So it is very important why I say to put it in certain locations, because I know we have some hormonal blends, for women that are really suffering with menstrual cramps, and even headaches related to that, and just all kinds of hormonal issues. We have one called Hers, and that's a very powerful blend that I've had teenagers come and hug me about that blend. And so they're like, thank you so much for giving me this, because I was having so much menstrual cramps, and I would rub that on and it would just ease the pain. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, it says on there specifically where to place it, because that is very important. When you're using the oils, that you just don't want to rub it everywhere like John did last night. I think he had some of the points. But there is, if you don't want to waste it and rub it all over, there's certain points that are going to be most powerful to you. So that's one of the things.
I did have a question for my mom, because I've been able to send some of the oils to my mom and get her to, use them. So she was asking me, can I use more than one at a time?
Oh, that's a great question. And yes, you can. Yes, you can. I wouldn't use more than 3 at a time. But if you have, like yesterday was, a pretty busy day in my office, and, people are wanting healing hands and touch right now. And I noticed that yesterday more than ever. People were in there just suffering with that they're not able to communicate well through a screen like we're doing right now. They really are missing that human connection through touch. And so that rubbing that essential oil on them, and I used the mini bottles yesterday. So what I'm saying is, I was using it on them, but it was getting on me too. And I had a really awesome day. So, the that I use the oils for other people, it's rubbing on me and it's helping me have a better day. So I usually use around 3, no more than 3 throughout my day. So I might start off, like I started off with Revive in the morning, and Revive, I was just like, because I didn't go to bed till I was pretty emotional the night before with my grandfather, and I'm a good sleeper, and I didn't have my deep sleep because I know we have some sleeping blends in there, and I didn't have that with me, and I was just like, my brain was going all over the place. And so yesterday morning, to make it through the day, I needed Revive. And so Revive helps your adrenals wake up in the morning, and I put the Revive on. And there's the Revive and the Relax. And so in the afternoon, I could feel people needed the Relax. And so in the morning, I started Revive. In the afternoon, I'm doing Relax. And I'm using Relax on people. I'm rubbing it on me. And then at night, last night, I needed peace. And man, I'm telling you, I didn't use the sleeping blends, but I had a wonderful day. And then last night, I slept really well. And woke up this morning just excited to do this podcast with you. So yeah, I would say 3, no more than 3. I mean, you probably could use more, but if you've never used essential oils before, your body's going to be sensitive. I mean, I've been using essential oils for over 16 years, so you might want to just start with 1 and see how your body reacts. 1 is very, very powerful, unless you feel like you can handle it more. So get used to the oils before you start rubbing them everywhere. And like I said, John was able to, but he's been using them for years,
He could probably take a bath in them.
Yeah, he can take a bath in them. But like for my grandfather, he doesn't use them all that time. So I just literally put a little bit of piece right behind his ear. Yeah. And I didn't need to rub it all over him. I didn't want to oversensitize the body, Yeah. So just doing just 1 touch, there's so much power in just a little roll. You don't have to roll it everywhere. Save it. It's gold.
And that's a good point though. The rollers, we do have the coconut carrier oil, so they will last. They should last you a long time. I mean, obviously it depends on how frequently or how much you're using them, but they do last a long time. For my mom, her 2 that she was, asking about using in combination, I think was the Relax and the Inflamex, because she's been struggling with arthritis in her hands. And so she was asking, can I put that on my hands and use the Relax? And of course I told her yes. But those are hitting 2 different, she's not using 2 oils for the, blends that, overlap for kind of the same, effect.
Right. And not use it at the same time. So sometimes like you want to start, give it a couple hours. Yeah. So for me, I was saying I did the Revive in the morning, and then I switched to Relax a few hours later. So yeah, you don't want to grab all the bottles and just put it on the body's like, what's going on? Which one do you want me to do? So start with 1 and ease into it. And as you get more comfortable, you will fall in love with them and want more. So Denise, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And I know there's going to be so much more information. There's a lot of knowledge between the 2 of us that we might have to get on another podcast. But I appreciate you being on today, and I hope you guys listening got a lot of value from this. And reach out if you have any questions or concerns about anything. We appreciate you, Denise. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the No More Meds podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share your favorite episodes with your family and friends, or at least leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher. The content and opinions expressed are those of the host and presenters. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Product statements have not been evaluated by the FDA.